Okay. I'm going to start this session a little differently than I normally do by asking you, what do you want to get out of this typing session?
Um, I've been an enthusiast of Myers-Briggs for like 4 or 5 years. I've probably seen like 30 of these things
Okay.
she's done. Uh, and I'm in like this mode now where I sort of can't stop thinking about it. Um,
It
and I
infests
think
everything,
this,
huh?
right. So I think this would help maybe uh, as far as solidifying things for me. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Um, can you tell me, are you more likely to say, I should have thought more before I did that, or I should have pulled the trigger on that while I had the chance?
Um, Probably the first one. Yeah, I should have thought more.
Okay. Do you think that you're more likely to say, I should have listened more or talked more?
Uh, Talked more. Yeah, I've been told that.
Okay. Do you think it's more important for other people in the world to be reliable or honest?
Reliable.
Do you think you're more reliable or more honest?
Reliable.
Okay. Um, do you think it's more important for yourself to be socially graceful or to be um, to be effective at solving problems?
The latter.
Okay. Do you think it's easier for you to be socially graceful or effective?
The latter.
Okay. Um, can you tell me the story of like the last day or so, just minor details, the SI test, the standard SI test?
Yeah. I woke up this morning. I have a rare day off today. Uh, I work retail, but I woke up this morning. Um, I got up off the floor. I sleep on a tatami mattress, which is like this thin. So I basically sleep on the floor like a Japanese person because supposedly it's good for your back. I've been doing that for the last 2 years. Um,
Has it been
and
good
I
for your
got
back?
up. Yeah, it's supposedly good for your back because like your spine uh, deals with it better or something.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it. I have all these people telling me like they have back problems, and I've never had them, but I don't want them because you know they sound terrible. So yeah, so I sleep on the floor. I ate an orange, and then I ate like this vegan burrito that I bought, which was like a new try for me, like this morning. Took a shower, and then I listened to a podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
Are you more likely to trust your experience or your instincts?
instincts probably. Um, yeah, I think I'm best when I do that.
Okay. What does the emotion of sadness feel like in your body?
Uh, it's like a weight. Uh, a lethargy. That's a word.
Hmm.
Um, Something that like weighs me down and doesn't make me want to do anything.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Does it have a location in the body?
Yeah, it's in my head, probably.
Okay. What about the feeling, the physical feeling of anger? Does that have more of a physical expression than sadness?
Yeah, definitely. That's more of a full body thing for me. Um, I experienced it yesterday, actually. I'm usually not like an emotional person, uh, but I think yeah, I felt it like in my hands and my legs as well. Um, yeah, it's debilitating in a way.
Okay. So, do you think that by and large, throughout the day, you're feeling a succession of emotions, or that you feel normal, quote unquote, neutral until something makes you feel emotional?
The latter.
Okay. Um, can you break down the task of trimming the hedges into exactly 5 steps?
Yeah. So you get the hedge clippers out of the garage, which I don't have. But if I did, I would bring them to the hedge. That's step two. Step three would be to move your hands in this motion until the hedge reaches your aesthetic preference.
Okay.
Then the you bring the clippers back to the garage, and you have a beard.
Okay. You left all the clippings on the ground.
Yeah, yeah, that
Okay.
was good.
Um, can you talk to me about reasons why somebody might want to become a submariner? Somebody who serves in a submarine?
Yeah. It takes discipline. So some people need discipline, I suppose, to function. They enjoy it. Um, I think uh, the isolation of it would suit people. People that are not claustrophobic, whatever the antonym of that is, would enjoy it.
Agoraphobic.
Personally, sorry,
Agoraphobic.
agoraphobic. Yeah. Personally, yeah, I would really enjoy it. Um, because yeah, I mean you're doing something extremely surreal as far as like being so far like underwater, and I just think the idea of that would just thrill people. Yeah,
Yeah. The thing is, I bet there's not really portholes to look out of if you're working on a submarine, like for the
right.
military.
The modern submarine. Yeah.
And you probably just get to see the inside of the submarine. You don't really get to see the outside ocean very much. Okay, so would you be a good person if it were the Civil War and I'm Abraham Lincoln or Jefferson Davis, either one, and I'm picking a general? Are you a good person to pick as a Civil War general?
Am I a good person to what?
To pick as my Civil War general?
Yeah, probably. I think I have a structure. I would I would take the main parts of our purpose and uh, implement them pretty well. I'm a For work. Like an assistant manager in retail, so I can do that well. with who I work with. So I think you could count on me to be reliable in that matter. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think you'd be good at the military tactics, like telling the cavalry where to go and the infantry where to stand?
Yeah. Yeah. I That's something I considered, like when I was younger. Um, People like, I guess my parents like sort of coerced me out of that idea because there's no wars now. You know,
Right.
there's no wars worth fighting or something,
Yeah.
and there isn't. But yeah, I think I would be a good leader, and I am. I think
Okay. What's your definition of truth, or what do you think truth is?
truth is something that you can find. Um, it might take some time. It might take a lot of opinions to go through, but yeah, I think it's to be found.
Okay. Have you heard me ask the questions where I say a little thing and you say, and that's why they always say, miggity miggity meow?
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Okay. So, I will then try to make up a new anecdote for this. Well, have you heard me tell the story of, well, I met with Barbara and Julie today. We were visiting from out of town, and I said to Barbara, "How nice of you and your daughter to visit us here in town." And then Barbara said, "I'm her sister," and I was so embarrassed. Now, can you say, well, that's why they always say, meowity meowity meow?
I'll say it one more time. I'm sorry.
Okay, I met with Barbara and Julie today. They were visiting from out of town, and I said to Barbara, "How nice of you and your daughter to visit us." And she said, "My daughter, we're sisters." And I was so embarrassed.
Yeah. So the tree doesn't. I mean, the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree. I guess I don't think that's correct.
I don't think so either. But I'm not sure which one though. Maybe don't judge a book by its cover, or
Right.
look before you leap, or something. Yeah. Okay. Can we turn that around? Can you come up with an anecdote that you think is intended to convey a little saying, and I'll try to say what saying it is?
Um. Um. The So I was walking down the street and I saw a car crash, and both people lived.
um, and every cloud has a silver lining.
That's correct.
All right, I got it.
Yeah.
I feel so impressed with myself. All right, that's a good one. So I'm gonna now ask. No, it is a good one because it's very compact and the linkage is clear, right? So it's like
Yeah.
when I'm doing those tests, I'm trying to see how comfortable you are going back and forth between SI and NI. You know, can you give me an example of your own version of the potato touch story? Have you heard me tell the potato touch story before?
Yeah, I don't think I've heard this one.
Okay, so I went to this restaurant, and I used to sit at the counter there, and I'd noticed that when somebody ordered a meal, the waiters would touch both ends of the potato with their fingers to make it go open, and then they scoop the butter in. And I thought to myself, if I ever order a meal here, then I'll keep an eye out to make sure they don't touch my potato too much, okay? So the thing is, then I did order a meal, and I watched it the whole time. But then when they delivered it to me, I realized I'd gotten rice pilaf. There was no potato. But I had spent the time watching for them to touch my potato anyway, because I was remembering my plan to watch when I should have realized I ordered rice pilaf. So I want you to see if you can come up with a comparable example in your own life when you remembered meow but should have realized meow.
Okay, so like I'm opening our retail store and I'm expecting like a regular to come like first, at like 9 o'clock in the morning. And he doesn't come, the security guard comes. And there's been a murder around the building. Is that correct? Is that something?
No, I mean, not really.
No, not at all, right? Yeah, I'm not sure I understand really.
Okay, well, the equivalent thing at the most sort of proto level is you're holding your sunglasses in your hand and you're
Oh
going,
yeah.
where are my sunglasses? Right?
Okay.
That would be the most basic level of that. And then in the opposite kind of story is one where you went with your gut but should have trusted your experience. I have a lot of trouble coming up with one of these. Uh,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I go out to eat a lot. Um, Try to do that like 3 or 4 times a week. I try to go to like a new place every time, and during the pandy, you don't really eat around people, but there is like I want to make the correct decision. I don't know.
it's a tough one to come up with. A time
Right.
when I trusted my gut, but I should have trusted. Well, okay, like I mean, the thing is, when I talked to that, this is an example of the opposite, I guess. When I talked to that lady, the doctor that Rachel talks to on Friday, and she's like, "Oh well, you don't need to come down here." My gut said she does need to go down there, but I trusted that lady instead. But that's not exactly what I'm looking for. The opposite of that, like when I trusted my gut, but I should have trusted that lady.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Okay, have you seen the chart of the I should have meow, but I did meow instead?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'll pull this chart up so we can both look at it, and I'm going to ask you to
Yeah.
pick from the options on the chart, okay?
Yeah, if I could see it.
Okay, I'll pull it up right now.
Okay. Sorry, is it going to come up like in front of your face? Because that's all I can see.
Yeah, it's going to come up in front of my face.
Okay.
A tab, and then it's this one. And then I'll make this bigger.
Cool.
Put this at 200%. Okay, so can you read that?
Yeah, barely.
Okay, well, I can read it to you. I
Okay.
should have pulled the trigger on something or stuck with something, but instead I backburnered it forever, just didn't. Couldn't decide fast enough, distrusted my instincts, was dissuaded from doing so, didn't want it bad enough, kept changing my ideas, or hit a roadblock I couldn't get around.
Kept changing my ideas.
Okay. I should have said either something specific, like I should have said meow, 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 but instead I either said something else, or I should have said something, but instead and then you've got just walked away, slash hung up, slash punched him, didn't know key detail yet, didn't think of it until later. I was still trying to get caught up. I just said what I always say to him, was too shy or self-conscious, or I didn't want to hurt their feelings.
Um, it's probably the third one. Yeah, I didn't think of it until later.
Yeah. Okay. This is the one we were just sort of talking about, or one half
Yeah,
of it. I should have realized, yeah, but instead I had target blindness. Did it like always. Was too busy talking. Was trying to figure out meow. Was worried about embarrassment. I didn't trust my instincts, or I just pushed random stuff until it was too late.
instincts.
Okay. I should have learned or remembered meow, but instead I was too caught up completing meow. Went with my gut about such matters. I tried to figure out a new way. I re-verified the results. I forgot as usual because my memory's shite. I figured out how to do it again, or I trusted that Mian knew what he was doing.
Um, yeah, that's interesting. Um, I can barely read these, so I'm just gonna say that I was procrastinating or something. I mean, like, um, that I didn't pull. I mean, like, didn't proverbially like pull the trigger. I don't know.
Okay, cool. And I guess that's the last one. Okay. Uh, so I'm gonna stop sharing that. Okay. Have you heard me ask the question about the lady and the peacock in the bowling alley?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll ask you a different story prompt then. Um, Once upon a time, there were these two scuba divers, and they were scuba diving under the ocean, and they saw a shipwreck, and they went to go examine it, and there was a chest full of gold coins they saw. But then all of a sudden, Joe and Bob, the two scuba divers, was attacked by a giant octopus. Bob was afraid to leave the gold coins behind, but he wanted to help his friend. Now you finish the story.
He was too afraid to what?
He he was afraid to leave the gold coins behind, but he wanted to help his friend. He's afraid he wouldn't be able to find them again if he went off to help his friend.
Right. So, I mean, Bob was the guy that left him or had the option to.
Yeah, Bob is choosing between the gold coins and seeing his friend being dragged off into the dark by a giant octopus.
Right. So, um, they had like a really dramatic conversation, face to face. I can see it like very cinematically. And it's and it's they're basically saying it's like, what are our options here, man? And he's like, leave me. And Bob was like, no, I can't. And then he's like, no, but I have a daughter. And Bob was like, okay. And then like he stuck his arm out and like pulled him out. And then yeah, that's it. That's all I got. I'm sorry. It could have been better, but yeah.
Okay, that's fine. When you're not watching media that teaches you anything, what kind of media are you watching?
Um, films. I'm a big movie guy. Um,
What's that? Is that a movie poster behind you?
yeah, that's Bad News Bears. It's an original Bad News Bears poster.
I remember that movie.
Walter Matthau and Tatum O'Neal. Um, yeah, I mean, I have like a big list of movies that I still want to see, but I've seen like thousands of freaking movies. I try to watch one movie a day. Um, and I try to like keep up on like certain television shows I like. And I'm recently trying to like watch like anime.
Okay, which ones have you tried?
I really like. I've tried a bunch, and I watch like 2 or 3 episodes and get tired of most of them, but I really like Berserk. I finished that one. I really like one called Mononoke, and I really
Mononoke.
like one called Devilman Crybaby.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. But I've tried a bunch that are like, I, my thing with it, it's like I think I'm doing it because, the Zoomers are so into it and I want to be like in touch with that somehow. I think it's like really like the most important thing media wise to the young people. So I want to like have a grasp of that, but I can't grasp like the Japanese sense of humor very well. So a lot of them like really screw me up as far as I just don't find them that interesting. I do like Berserk because it's so dark. Like I like a lot of things with like a really hard edge and surrealism.
Have you
Um,
watched Attack on Titan yet?
yeah, I've gotten through like probably like 10 or 15 episodes, and the main character is just so INFP, and I can't take it. I can't, he's such a. I mean, it's or am I thinking of Attack on Titan? No, I'm thinking of like Neon Genesis,
Oh,
Evangelion.
yeah, I have a
Um,
little trouble with that as well.
both I mean, both shows have like a character that's just like a child, and I really can't. I can't dig that, man. I'm sorry.
Aaron Yeager is an interesting character. He's definitely an FI user, that's for sure.
Right, right. ISFP probably. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so let's talk about this countervalued, possibly or probably backstack FI of yours. Um, Talk to me about your own relationship with harm prevention.
Harm from. Not really there. I think when I think of harm prevention, I think of like things that I do on a regular basis, like tools I use that I don't keep up with. Um, my car is like I change the oil like once a year, if that. um,
How much do you drive?
I drive to work and back, and I drive across the city like 2 or 3 times a month. I'll go to like an interesting restaurant on the weekends. Um, if there's a concert, I'll drive to that. Not a lot, man. Not a lot. Um, so it's definitely like a need to do kind of thing.
Okay.
Um, Harm prevention, though, yeah, I think I eat pretty well, so I guess I think it's fairly simple, and I think everybody should do it. But yeah,
That's SI.
yeah,
That's not FI.
right.
FI means harm prevention to somebody else, not harm prevention
Oh,
to
okay, okay,
yourself.
okay. Um, to somebody else.
Or something else. Do you have any pets?
No,
You,
no.
do you
Like
have
I
any
would I
loved
would
ones?
never have a pet because I'm gone like 14 hours a day.
Okay.
I don't believe in that. Like people that have pets that are gone that long, shame on you,
Well, you could get a fish that only eats twice a day.
I suppose. That would bring me no satisfaction. I'm sorry.
You know, Rachel and I get a fair amount of satisfaction from our fish. Of course,
Yeah,
we're around it a lot. We're around all the time, but they don't really appreciate us being around. They prefer us not being around. When we're around and they see us, then they go and hide.
like the lights and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear that.
Anyway, we have a crayfish now that we've had. How long have we had that crayfish for, Rachel? A good year at
A
least,
year,
right?
I think,
Yeah, and
almost.
it's
Yeah,
molted a
I'd
couple of
say
times.
probably around the spring we, like, maybe late. It's been soon to be a year.
Yeah,
Wow, that's so crazy.
yeah, and
Oh.
it's molted a few times, gotten bigger. It's got a little cave in the front that it hangs out in. I tell you something, crayfish, they don't do anything but sit in their cave and wait for food to come by it and grab it.
That's
That's
the sucker fish, or
no, a crayfish, like a little baby lobster.
yeah,
You know, it's got the pinchers. It's a freshwater. It's basically a little baby freshwater lobster, crawdad, crayfish, mudbug. It's got
and
various
why does
names.
that? Why do you have that? Because it's a thing that
Well, we
brings you
wanted,
joy.
yeah. Well, I wanted to have a fish tank with just guppies in it for a long time,
Right.
which we did have for a while. But then you get tired of just guppies, and I thought, ooh, look at that. Let's get that little lobster. And it's very happy. I tell you, it's a very happy little creature. He's got his cave. He's got that I made for him, like out of rocks and shit, you know. And he's
It's hard
perfectly.
to clean those, though, right?
No, I've got a good siphon system. I take one garden hose from outside and siphon water out of the tank, while another garden hose from outside, both of them coming through the window, puts water into the tank. And I just let that thing run for like 20, 30 minutes. Once you balance it out, you can let it run indefinitely, you know. So
Man, I don't know. That sort of upkeep is just not worth it for me. I don't know.
I feel you on that. Okay, I'm going to ask you this question that somebody suggested on a live stream this morning. If you were me typing you right now, what question would you ask you?
Um, wow. Um, Inky Pinkies. I mean, what are those called? Inky
Inky
Pinkies.
Pinkies? Let's try a
Yeah.
couple of them. So, this is um, a new day's window umbrella, and it's a Inky Pinky.
Is New Day's window part of it, and then umbrella is part of it?
No, window umbrella is one part, and new days is one part.
Okay. Dawn.
The Inky Pinky.
Yeah. Morning. Dawn. I don't know. I mean, the way I usually like try to figure these out is like figuring like synonyms of the first word, and then it comes to me.
Right. All right. Well, this is an awning dawning. It's kind of a hard one.
That was tough. Yeah.
That's a tough one. All right.
Yeah.
Can you make up one for me?
Yeah. Like just off the top of my head, a holiday song, and a state of disarray.
Carol Peril.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That's a good one. Um. All right. So, can you talk to me about any creative outlets you have? Like, do you write, draw, paint, act? Meow, meow, meow.
Yeah. I went to film school, and I did that for like 10 years, and I kind of hated it. Like the just like commercial film business. Um, so I did like post production for a while, and then I filmed concerts when everybody didn't have a phone. Nowadays, I write, or I try to. Um, I don't keep a journal, but I do like make long text messages to like friends, and then I like exaggerate uh, my experiences, and they seem to enjoy it.
Mm.
I do want to like try to criticize and like maybe theorize about film and music because those are my two interests.
Talk to me a bit about your
I
music
think those are
tastes.
worthwhile things. Yeah.
Talk to me about your music tastes.
Um, all over the place. Uh, always listening to new music. The minute I wake up in the morning, I put on like a new album. I rarely listen to like something familiar. It's usually something kind of loud and abrasive, but can be something that's um, it's usually something that's new and like it's reaching, progressive of a sort. I really like the way genres start, so I search to find like the beginning of things, um, and then I find that like most things like are greatest like when they start like that. So like recently I've been listening to a lot of dub reggae, and like there's this guy named Keith Hudson from Jamaica, and he's the dark prince of reggae, and he had this sort of style that was very murky and hard hitting. And I've listened to a bunch of other like dub reggae from the 70s, and I don't think it like even touches him because he created it. Everything else after that was just a like a knockoff, and that's what I kind of dislike, like people just doing things again in like the same way. So yeah, that's what I think about music.
Interesting. Okay. Um, what are some of the kind of problems that you encounter in your life and then solve?
Um, Problems usually like logistical things, like from a day to day basis. It's actually it's the problems I have are just with like if somebody has a problem that comes into like the store on a regular basis. I'm putting out a fire, but myself, I really don't have a lot of problems, or none that I can really think of.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you've got things structured like you like them.
yeah. I try to take chances though. Um, I do push the limits of my certain boundaries because I think if I don't, it's extremely boring, like this life. Um, but yeah, I mean, like I'm not a huge gambler or anything like that.
Okay. Cool. All right, so let's try some TI questions, see how those play out.
Okay.
If only porcupines are spiny and all spiny things are cacti, can we conclude necessarily that some porcupines are cacti?
All porcupines, some
Only,
no.
only porcupines. All things that are spiny. Only porcupines are spiny. All things that are spiny are cacti.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
How about this one? Can you tell me what yesterday's tomorrow is in relation to today? Assuming today is Saturday.
Monday.
Yeah. Okay. Who is going to win the Rams game this weekend?
Matthew Stafford.
Okay.
Matthew freaking Stafford. Dallas, Texas, dude.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
So it's not. It just kind of come down to one player is going to win the whole game, huh?
And they've got Jalen Ramsey is my favorite freaking player in the league. Love that freaking team. Love them. Hope they go all the way.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have a pick in the Bengals?
Bengals. I think the Bengals are going to upset the Chiefs. Everybody says like, oh yeah, the Chiefs are like destined, but I think uh, the Bengals attack is going to be it's going to be comparable to the Chiefs attack. And they've got a really good defense, and they haven't done it before, so they've got like that sort of intangible. Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon. I mean, give me Bengals and Rams all day, man.
Did you watch that Bills Chiefs game?
Oh yeah,
Rachel and I were watching it too. That was the craziest fucking game I've ever seen, man.
everybody says that, but you don't remember like there was like two Super Bowls that had like those kind of like back and forths very recently. But yeah, I mean like just nuts, just bonkers.
Yeah.
And it's just wonderful. Like the great I love it when the NFL is like rocking that. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. Okay. Do you like any other sports? Do you like to watch any other sports besides NFL?
Yeah, I like all the sports. This morning I watched. Yeah, I didn't get to this part. I listened to that podcast and then I watched Gambia play Cameroon in the Africa Nations Cup
Yeah.
in soccer. I really, really, really like all the sports. I love attending sporting events. I played sports when I was younger. I find sports to be a great dramatic discourse.
Yeah. They're fun.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do with world mic power? You've got the mic, you got 30 seconds. Whatever you say gets translated into every language and broadcast directly into everyone's ears.
Man, get off your ass. Get off your ass. Don't blame the pandemic for your, misfortune. Talk to people. Live like it's your best year, not these last 2 years. And yeah, that's all I got to say.
So, you feel as though the last couple of years people have been
Holding them to they're holding themselves back, and I think they're making excuses for their laziness. I mean, we were strong, like 3 years ago, and now we're weak. And I tried to like sort of compare this to like the Great Depression or maybe the late 60s, and then we were having like a really like sort of change, and I thought it would make us stronger, but I really am like kind of scared that we're getting weaker.
well.
I don't think
There's a lot of
oh,
people with phenomena like mine where when when COVID first came around, the first thing that happened was they canceled this national debate tournament that I was already in the process of planning to go to. Right now, they've shifted over to like remote tournaments mostly. I kind of lost interest in the whole thing. I got this going on. I end up doing this most of the
There you go.
time. It's like it sort of works out like that way. But the thing is, yeah, in some sense, I could kick back into debate gear, but it's not that much fun if there's not any tournaments to go to and everybody's doing everything remotely and shit. It's not even fun. Why even
That's
bother?
why that's why I'm doing that message, to everybody in the world. Get off your ass, pretend like it's 2017
Yeah,
or
it's good
or
advice.
1982 or something. I don't know. Um, it it just seems like it's a mindset. Like you go out every day and you can totally make your day if you have the right mindset and deal with people in like a way that's like that you may have in the past. It starts. It's like dominoes. I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to ask Rachel to come over and chat with you for a little bit. Maybe ask you about your values and your visions for your own future and where you saw yourself as being, where you are now, where you're going, that kind of line of questioning, and see what she thinks as well. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Hello.
Hey,
So, do you set goals for yourself?
yeah, I try to. This year, I want to read more. I want to read more, but not just like anything. I want to read the Wire magazine, which is an experimental music magazine that I have all the backlogs to. If if I read like one issue a week, then I can like make some ground up as far as like my musical knowledge. So that's something I want to do. I also want to um, raise a level in what my profession. I want to in my second job. I want to my retail job. My second job is like a mail order record company. I want to make that progress by putting like grading more records and putting them out quicker on our website. Um, that's vinylrecordsinc.com. Um, those are my
Okay, so you have some pretty clear set goals for yourself, it sounds. Um, and do you play any instruments?
no. I played the clarinet when I was in like sixth grade, and I quit. I was pretty good, and I wanted to play the saxophone. You had to play the clarinet to play the saxophone in the school I went to. And I quit right before they let me play the saxophone, and I kind of regret it. I kind of do. Um, but yeah, I tried to play like the bass guitar. Um, I didn't find like a real like innate instinct at playing an instrument. I don't have like great rhythm, but I freaking love music though. So I wish I kind of did. I wish I could like actually make music on my computer, but I don't have like the patience to learn how to do that. Anyway,
So, passion for music, it sounds. What are your if I were to ask you your top five favorite music artists, could you do that?
Yeah, maybe. But I'd change it tomorrow though.
Will you
Um,
change it? Okay.
you want me to do it?
Yeah, I'd like to know your top five favorite music artists of the current your current state.
Okay. Number one has probably been Staples. He's a hip hop artist.
Ah, I know Vince Staples. He's great.
Yeah, he's from yeah, SoCal, right?
No way, I
He's from
didn't
Long
know
Beach.
that.
Long Beach.
Long Beach. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. He talks about it. Anyway, yeah, him. I like. I still like Lana Del Rey. I think she does good stuff. I really like. Uh, yeah, music. Um, mm, I think. I think PJ Harvey is really good. She's still making good music.
She is. She
Yeah.
rocks. She knows how to rock for sure. PJ Harvey.
Yeah, I mean, she's got her own thing. Everybody's trying to ape her and stuff. That's cool. Um, I like Earl Sweatshirt. I've been listening to his new album a lot lately. Very cool. I really like number five is probably More Mother, Moor Mother. She's like this experimental hip hop artist, and she's all into like black futurism, which I think is really interesting. I'm
This
interested in like just futurism in general, but she like puts it to another level, and she brings like hip hop and noise and jazz and all sorts of things. I just find her like extremely fascinating. Yeah,
she sounds it.
yeah.
Okay, want me to?
All right, it's time to switch over. Thank you for speaking with me.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. All right, let me talk with Rachel off camera here for a second. Okay.
Is it coming clearer?
I mean, I've got I've got a couple of odd, conflicting notions in mind. So let me see what Rachel has to say.
Okay, I'm gonna do a TikTok dance
Okay.
while y'all are away.
What do you think?
I don't know. Like I feel like his Effie's. For some reason, he reminds me of my brother a little bit. His music taste. But his SI I didn't test for really. I don't know how his SI is.
I was thinking he's possibly an INFJ, possibly
Yeah, he could be.
kind of a Corey-esque INFJ.
Yeah.
But and then the only other weird possibility I was having, although his music taste and his talking about music to me doesn't sound like it at all, would be ESTJ for some reason came into mind. Like
I don't.
I don't think so though.
No, because when I asked him to list the artists, he did have trouble. So that's poor TE.
Right, and he had trouble with the 5 steps too. He did get to 5 steps, but he did not successfully get the hedges really trimmed properly. So,
Yeah.
all right, I think I'm gonna type him as INFJ because
Yeah.
I don't think he's ENFJ because his SI is too good.
Yeah,
Yeah, you didn't check it. Yeah.
No, I didn't check it.
Okay. All right, we're back and better than ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Are we?
Okay, so you are a bit of a what you might call a tricky trickster in a little bit of a way. Like I think your affect is not that consistent with your type, but I think you're actually an INFJ, and I think you probably think you're an ENTP.
Nailed it.
I got it totally wrong. That's not what you thought, and that's not
No,
what
you nailed it. You
Oh,
nailed it.
I nailed it. Okay.
I did think I was an ENTP, and I've considered like all 16, and like from the time I've been studying this and everything. But yeah,
I,
I mean that's incredibly interesting. Yeah,
and I think you're an Enneagram 3.
that was my next question.
You remind me of my friend Corey, who's an INFJ who has an affect similar to yours, has similar kinds of music taste. For example, his band, he called it Computer Door All the Way Live, and he'd say things like dancehall sound system. You know? So he his the way he talks about music, the way you talk about music is very, very similar. And the fact that you identify as somebody who has watched a lot of films and has a list of films you want to continue to watch and stuff, all this is very receiver-ish rather than putter-ish. But of course, you're an externally focused sort of approach towards an INFJ, at least in affect. That's just affect, of course. So ultimately, ENTPs and INFJs have a lot in common, but I think you're an INFJ.
So you think I'm a Rachel?
Yeah, except she's a 9 and you're a 3, and that's a big difference. I got to see Rachel and Corey hanging out together, and
Why do you call me a 3?
you're a high achiever. You know what you want. You're able to get it. You don't need to be ashamed of yourself because of that.
What's the wing?
I don't go with wings at all. I don't do wings. I do tri-types.
Hate
But
wings, man. I hate them. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like totally irrelevant.
the reason I don't like wings is because it's like they don't go with tri-types. So I think my tri-type is 784. I like tri-types. But if I'm wings, then what am I? 7 wing 8, 8 wing 7? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. I don't like wings. I don't use them, but I do think that you get one of each of the 3 things. So, and one of them is predominant. I'm predominantly a 7, which means, oh, I'm sure that army is going to attack the village next door. We don't need to worry about that.
Right.
That's what I'm predominantly, and then my secondary one is angry Eric, and then fuck you, I'm going home 4. So I'm 784. So for you, the other 2 numbers would be, are you somebody who doesn't need to be afraid because you understand it in full, because you have a large stockpile of resources, or because they're probably going to attack the other village?
One more time.
Are you somebody who doesn't need to be afraid because you've researched it in full and you understand it well, because you've got a stockpile of resources you can count on, or because I'm sure that storm's going to miss us?
Probably 2, I guess.
Okay. And then the last question is, if somebody comes at you with anger, do you anger back, pew pew? Do you go, oh, never mind, if you're going to be so angry here, and give in? Or do you go, you know what, if you're going to be angry, I'm going to walk away?
Probably the first, but I would repair it later.
Okay, so then I think you're a 3, 8. What did you pick on the second one? The 5 or the 6 or the 7? Or did you go, you studied it, you have resources, or you're pretending it's not going to be bad?
You asking me?
Yeah. Which one did you pick? I don't remember.
I'm sorry. One more time.
Did you pick, you don't have to be afraid because you researched, because you have a stockpile of resources, or because you are burying your head in the sand, pretending like they're going to attack the other city?
The second one.
The second one. Okay.
Resources.
So then I think you're a 386, and I will look up. I will look up what that's called right now. Now, if somehow I'm wrong about your type, the only reason I'd be wrong would be because you're actually sneakily SI polar. There's nothing really that suggested SI polar to me in you. In other words, your SI accounting of events was better than polar. You passed the SI polar test, and you've given me enough examples and stuff from your life to also just reinforce the idea that you're not SI polar. So I'm much more convinced that you're an INFJ with an extroverted affect than you are anything else. But if I were to be wrong, you'd be a sneaky ENFJ who's fooled me about your SI. Okay, so let's see. So you'd be returned about 386.
Yeah, cool.
386. Let me find it.
Where are we at time-wise?
We got a couple minutes left, but
Okay, cool.
if we run a little bit over, it's fine. I'm normally not in a huge hurry to get over these things, except I do at about 1:15. I have to go help my dad take this wheelchair to my mom's nursing home, which is such a good thing to have to do. It's like people go, "Oh, well, I mean, you got to do that."
Yeah, yeah.
Why am I having trouble finding this thing? 3, not 7, 8. I must be on the first page. God damn it.
Bubbles.
I'm looking for 3, 8, 6. Three, 5, 8. 3, 8, 6. The mobilizer. Success-oriented prominence seeker. Quick to react, fight for justice while taking opportunity and to gain advantage.
Yeah.
So that's what you're called, which, is a nicer version, I must say, than the one I tri-typed the other day, who was 368. She was the confronter. And it was clear the difference, right? The difference was quite clear.
Like the 8 was like the main thing, or?
Yeah, if you are 368, you're the confronter, but you're
Right.
386.
Oh, right.
And that's the mobilizer. The 368 is that lady who came in very arms crossed at the beginning of a typing session, and then by the end of it, she was kind of lightened up a bit, but she was definitely a confronter,
Interesting. Yeah. Very cool.
Okay, so any last questions or thoughts or anything else you want me to address
Not
here
really,
before we
man.
go?
I really appreciate your channel. I think I fell upon it like 3 years ago when you were doing like a type police, and I think you should keep doing that.
Yeah,
I thought it
everybody
was
tells me
hilarious.
that. Everybody
I
tells
think
me.
most of these kind of people are like full of shit, and I think they should be called out. But yeah, man, I really like your work, and I really appreciate you taking an hour with me.
Oh, well, thanks so much. I appreciate your kind words, and I will stop this recording. I can share it with you privately, or if you're comfortable with me publishing, I can publish it.
Yeah, let's do it. And anybody that wants to say anything, just keep it clean. I'm just kidding. Say whatever you think.
All right.